socialist or capitalist? Big question, huh? In the past 100 years, humans have achieved incredible economic growth. And this growth is fueled by different economic systems. While some side with the capitalist, others argue that socialist is better. Well, let's skip who believes what. And try to find which is really effective. So, to begin with, an economic system is a method by which governments organize and distribute available resources, services, and goods across a region. They regulate the factors of production, which include land, capital, labor, and physical resources. There are many types of economies around the world. Each has its own distinguishing characteristics. Also, each economy functions based on a unique set of conditions and assumptions. Yet they all share some basic features. First, let's start with the socialist economy. Socialism is an economic system in which the means of production are usually owned by the government. The most important goal of socialism is to work for the collective good, rather than personal gains. The needs of society are considered more important than the needs of an individual. Also, socialist economies are rigid compared to other systems. Now you must be thinking, this seems really good. Well, yes. But only theoretically. You see, in socialist economies the power is centralized, so they react slowly to change. This makes them vulnerable to economic crisis or emergencies, as they cannot adjust quickly to changing conditions. Also, there is lack of innovation, since there is no need to take any risk. And this leads to lower production rate. In this system, the government decides what supply is needed, instead of what people demand. And no government, no matter how efficient, is able to understand the proper supply and demand of the economy, and provide enough resources according to it. As it is barely possible for the government to estimate the requirements of millions of people at any given time. Hence it can only be done by a free market economy. Because of this, socialism could not help the economic growth as capitalism does. Venezuela is a perfect example of how socialism could drive down the economic growth of any country. Now let's talk about the capitalist economic system. Capitalism is simply an economic system, in which the production is privately owned. And by production we mean everything. Like land, tools, technology, and whatever that is needed to produce goods and services. There is very little government interference. The government only has little control over resources, and does not interfere with important segments of the economy. Instead, the regulations come from people. And from the relationship between supply and demand. Here the supply is decided by the corporations upon consumer demand, unlike in the socialist economy. And if corporations fail to understand the customer needs, they are likely to go out of business. The core idea behind this economic system was, companies would get investments from people who own shares in these companies, which we called as corporations. And the sole purpose of these corporations is to make money for these shareholders. So in order to make higher profits under capitalism, businesses compete with each other. They try to attract more demand for their products in many ways. Like lowering prices, creating better products through innovation and advertising. In capitalist theory, such competition helps to ensure best products at the lowest prices. And yes, this benefits the society. Such competition also helps to ensure that no single party controls an entire market. These are some of the greatest advantages of capitalism over socialism. But we have to understand that a pure capitalist system is mostly theoretical. You see, all economic systems are subject to some kind of interference from a central authority. As in capitalism, private entities have a lot of economic power, particularly those who own resources of great value. The distribution of resources is not equitable, as those who succeed economically control most of it. And since the market is driven solely by self-interest, economic needs and profits have more priority than social and human needs. So to avoid this, the government interferes in different ways. For instance, most governments enact laws that regulate fair trade and monopolies. And this interference makes it a mixed economic system. Now, what is a mixed system? Well, a mixed economic system combines the characteristics of both capitalist and socialist economic systems. In a mixed economy, most of the industries are private, while the rest compose of primary public services. Yet there is less government intervention than a command economy. However, it also allows governments to use taxation policies to redistribute income and reduce inequality. Plus, it also allows the government to enact necessary laws and regulations. So we can say, this mixed economic system is kind of the best of both worlds. Today, every country who uses the capitalist system has somehow adopted a mixed economic system. Now, if you look at the history, many countries who have adopted the capitalist or mixed economic systems have achieved much better and rapid economic growth compared to socialism. For now, the capitalist or the mixed system seems to be the best for a win. But who knows, we might have even a better system in the future. Now you tell us in the comments section which economic system you think is the best. If you like this piece of content, then please share it with the world. Also, we would love to hear from you, what kind of videos you would like to see in the future.